Hey guys, us here. See, there's a Kev. All right, so today we are going to talk about 10 jobs that
we've each had at some point in our lives, but not now.
that others might not know about.
So we set up a couple rules with this. Number one, like I said, it can't be jobs we have currently.
Nope.
It's not necessarily in chronological order, though mine are.
His are.
And you must be at least, and it must be paid at least twice. They don't have to be in
Chronological order again. You don't have to have the same job all of the time twice.
Right.
In order
But you've
to
got
be
to at
paid
least have
for
the
it.
job for 2 days and been paid
Yeah.
for it. So, all right. And one of the little interesting things while we were going over this is we both realized at some point we were both mall survey takers, not taking them, but givers, I guess. So we both gave surveys to other people,
I took
and
them though too.
I did too. So okay, takers and givers.
But mostly givers. All right.
All right. Without further ado.
Here we go. 10 jobs you may not know that we have had.
All right. You want to start?
Oh, me. Okay. Well, the first one we decided on was our very first job,
Yep.
which I think Kev may have mentioned. I'm not sure. Okay. Chrissy's first job was babysitting. I was the neighborhood babysitter. I babysat all of the children. And I made $5 an hour. And in the early 90s, that's good.
Yeah, it really was. That's kind of how I felt about my first job. I was cutting lawns. And by lawns, I actually mean 2 lawns. The first one was at church where I made $5.50 an hour. So for that hour and a half.
Money. How
Yeah.
old were you?
Goodness, maybe 12 or 13. So it was, yeah.
That's really good money
Yeah.
when you're 12 or 13.
And then my sister worked at a ice cream shop, and the owner needed someone to cut the lawn.
I'm surprised that Lisa worked at an ice
Right.
cream shop.
So I cut the lawn over there. That was actually 4 or 5 times, and I know he always paid minimum wage. He just liked the girls. So he just paid minimum wage, and so I made maybe $3 an hour, but I milked it. I made
That's
a little
nice,
bit of
though.
dough. So, all right, that's our first one for each. Number 2.
All right. My second job was cleaning homes. It was around the same time that I was babysitting, and I was trying to make extra cash. So I would clean people's bathrooms and sweep their floors and fold their laundry.
Excellent. You do a great job here. Yes, you do.
All right.
No
I will
skeptical
accept
Chrissy.
the compliment.
Um,
Thank you.
My second job, I worked at a Christmas tree farm. It's one I always like to tell the kids, the students, that my first real job, other than cutting lawns, was working at a Christmas tree farm, and I made $8.50 an hour.
I love that you worked at a Christmas
Yeah.
tree farm.
It wasn't just cutting down the trees, which was very rare because I was young. I think I was 14 or 15, so I was under where I should have been legally able to. But I got paid under the counter. It was $8.50 an hour at
That's
that
nice.
age.
And he was making sure that other people's Christmas dreams come
Yep.
true.
Working and cutting boughs for Christmas wreaths, getting my hands sticky. But I grew up in a
And
pine
mantles.
forest, so I was used
You
to.
gotta make sure that mantles are covered.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember how sticky it was and how it smelled like home because I grew up in a pine forest. So
I think that's a good one.
that is the deuce.
All right, on to toi.
Toi?
Okay. My first taxable job was at an ice cream parlor where I also was certified to become a barista for the first time.
Barista.
Yeah, I made coffee,
they
both
call
at
it that then?
Seattle's Best Coffee
Did
and
they call it
Poppy's
baristas?
Ice Cream and Desserts, which also sold London chocolates. Oh my goodness, Miller's Essenplatz bread, and then we imported the ice cream from a place right in town that made it all from scratch. and we had chicken salad sandwiches, and it was just good. It was good. It was really good.
Yep.
All right,
Deliciousness. My first taxable job, and this is, while it's not chronological, it's kind of sounded a little chronological.
Yeah, a little bit.
I worked at KFC. I was a Kentucky Fried Chicken cook.
I love that.
I cooked. I was a cook.
He never makes fried chicken, though.
No.
You really don't.
I don't have a pressure cooker.
And he's a good cook. Like, he's a really good cook. Well, it's true. It's
So,
not
yeah.
even a compliment at this
Well-
point. Everybody knows it.
Well, I was told basically that I'm not good with people, so I never did the register. Like,
He's
the
right.
one time I did the register, apparently I got a complaint from a little old lady. So I was left in the back. I washed dishes. I cooked the chicken. It was wonderful. I did that for like 3.5 years. And I like the pot pies because they just came out when I started working there, and I got to take like 3 or 4 home a night.
The 90s were
Wonderful.
amazing that
Yeah,
way.
they really were. Really were. All right, so that's my third one. Number 4.
Oh, okay. I was a diner server. You know what Denny's is? Eaton Park. And if you know what Eaton Park is, mad props. I see
Eaton
you.
Park?
I love you.
Eating Park?
Eat in Park.
Eat in.
Like EAT. Like, you know.
Oh, I honestly thought when you first told me it, I thought it was like Eaton, like Easton, the bats and everything. So it's Eat in Park.
Eat in Park.
Ooh, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, I lived in Dormont, Pennsylvania at that time, which most people would consider Pittsburgh. It's like Summerlin to Vegas. And that was my first waiting tables job, like my real waiting tables job. And I happened to find out that I was good at it. And whenever I needed a job, I could always go back to it, and it kept me afloat.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so number 4. My senior year, going into getting ready for college, I wanted to make a little extra money, so the guy my sister was dating at the time, who is now her husband, so my brother-in-law, was the manager at the local grocery store. So I stocked shelves from about 11 o'clock at night till about 6 or 7. Maybe the last month or two of high school into right before I went off to college. So it was maybe 3 or 4 months that I worked there. But I did it because it was an extra 50 cents an hour to work third shift. And so I got my feet wet a little bit with that, but I remember listening to a lot of Pantera over the loudspeaker. Rob likes his Pantera. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't see any problems with that.
All right.
All right. Whew.
5 golden jobs.
This one seems so totally bizarre for me. And if you knew how I
Bizarre?
got fired, but I didn't get fired, it's ridiculous. Okay, I worked at the Sunglass Hut. The ice cream parlor that I worked at in high school, I had worked at since I was 15. It was my first real job as a person that had to have taxes taken out of their paycheck. And I found out that they were closing in my senior year, and I found another job fast, and it was at the mall, at the Sunglass Hut, and it was one of those enclosed kiosks, and it was right out front of Foot Locker. So we used to sell people sunglasses, Maui gyms, and all of that. And I didn't really work there even that long because of another job that's on my list where I was like, I can't deal with this. I was a cheerleader. They were trying to make me miss a game. And I was like, I would be in so much trouble with my coach right now. No, I'm shutting up shop and I don't even care. And you know what they did? They called me the next day because they couldn't get anybody else to come in because everybody else was my age as well. And, I didn't get fired. I was like, I can't take this anymore. So, there you go.
All right. So my number 5. Cafeteria in college. Chartwells. I worked in the cafeteria. I washed the dishes. I dealt with the line. I dealt with college kids who, for the first time, were off by themselves and trashed their lunch plates. Oh my goodness. But then I also was a runner of food. I didn't have to serve people because if you remember from
You
my
ran
KFC
food?
story, I ran food mainly like milk out to the giant bags of milk.
Being
I felt
a
like I was
food
in
runner,
Canada.
it's a thankless job. Anybody
Yeah.
who's been in food service knows.
Yep.
It's a
So
thankless.
I did that for most of college. I worked for Chartwells.
Aw.
Tried not working for Chartwells, but I had to have a job, and they worked pretty good with my schedule. And in all honesty, I met some really good people there. So yeah,
Okay.
Chartwells, working in the cafeteria in college with college students, football players. That just well, we won't get into that
I
yet.
love you.
Me too, baby.
Whew, okay, number 6. I have worked in fast food before. Guess what happened after Sunglass Hut? My best friend, Kathy Neighbors, who is like rocking it at White Castle and is a district manager. Shout out to Kathy if you ever
Hi,
watch
Kathy.
this.
And Andy.
And Andy. Well, I could get paid a lot of money just to come work with my best friend, so I did. And it was the most fun job that I had. I also worked at Taco Bell for a stint because I needed the extra cash for a bit, and it didn't last long. So there's that.
Good deal. Fast food. We both worked in fast food and realized,
It's just not. It's a hard job. Nobody gives them credit. They
Yeah.
work so hard.
And while my babe is a people person, I'm not a people person. That's why they always kept me in the back. They always kept me
I
in the
know
back.
that I worked in the All right, Kev's turn.
Number 6. Camp Minnewanka. We hold you
Camp-
in my heart.
That's what I was just
I
gonna
knew
say.
it was. So, for the
Shout out
3
to
years.
Salute Your Shorts, by
Yes. We'll hold you in our hearts.
the way. And when I think about you, it makes me wanna...
Want to fart?
Yeah, he said it, I didn't.
So, for my summer job in college, I worked at the camp, the American Youth Foundation camp in Stony Lake, Michigan, right by where Dad grew up. For my first job there, the majority of the years, so 3 of the years that I worked there, I worked maintenance. My dad was a maintenance man. He taught me lots and lots of things about fixing things and working with my hands. And I realized early on, I don't like working with my hands.
Aww.
So I did that because I really had to. I
He's
needed
good
to make
at
some
working
money.
with his hands when he wants to. No,
But I don't like to.
seriously,
I don't
you
like
do.
to. Thank you, love bug. Mwah.
All right, continue.
So that is my maintenance. I will continue talking about the camp my next time. Sunshine?
Oh, okay. I worked in Asian food for quite a while. I worked at a hibachi restaurant called Nakama, or Nakama, as it's called in Pittsburgh, on East Carson Street, which was a frequent in the early 2000s. I don't know what else to call it. Other people would call it the naughties, but that seems weird to me. It seems naughty.
You not fret.
And then, and then of course I worked at P.F. Chang's for quite a while as well. And I feel like I kind of know hibachi, sushi, and American Chinese bistro.
Yep.
I'm not saying that I know Chinese food in any sort of way. I'm just letting you know. Like, not. Okay.
All right, so continuing the camp story, because I worked maintenance for a couple
Aw.
years. One of the summers, I was blessed with the opportunity to work security. And it was while working security at night at a camp that I was able to actually meet George Wendt. Norm from Cheers, whose
That's
summer
so
home
cute.
was
Kev
right
has
next to the
actually had a
camp.
beer with
And
him.
yeah, I drank with Norm for 4th
That's
of July.
really
They had
cool.
his family always had a big 4th of July party, and because I had met him while working security, my buddy and I, Mark Moschke, we got invited over to meet Norm and his
That's
family
really
and have
cool.
beer with them on 4th of July. We also, we used to set off fireworks by the kids' cabins that made our lives difficult.
That's not nice.
and then we would wait to get the call that security was needed in this spot. We were right there, so we would give ourselves like 10-15 minute breaks on the beach because we were right on Lake Michigan, and it was beautiful. You should try sleeping on Lake Michigan.
Michigan is beautiful.
Yeah. All right, I've rambled on.
Okay. If you know what this even means, I used to be in video rentals. I was super proud of it too, and it was a huge part of my life for a long time. Movies can transcend time and space. It doesn't matter whether it was created yesterday or whether it was created tomorrow. If it can move your soul, it moves your soul, and if it moves it every time, it moves it every time. Some things do, some things don't, just like music. I love movies, and I worked for an amazing company for a really long time, and I met some of the best friends of my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything else. And I know people will tell you that holding on to tangible evidence of the past, like a movie or a CD or a DVD or a VHS or a Blu-ray, it doesn't matter. They'll tell you that it's ridiculous. You could just stream it or buy a subscription to something else. It's different when you know that a piece of you that you love so much that you could share with somebody else is always at your fingertips. And just to be able to own it and possess it is a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
And I think that a lot of people connect with that no matter what it is. Art, you want to possess it. It's not yours, but it feels like it's yours. And
the company is still around.
Yeah. Family Video, I don't think that people understand this. I really don't want to get into it, but I will because I love this company so much. Family Video is first and foremost a real estate company. They always let me know that. Even though they did essentially invent the idea of coming up with video rental stores.
Blockbuster's got nothing on them.
No. And they even bought the idea to rent out movies in a time where a VHS would cost you like $165. Which back then was even way more than it sounds like now.
Right, exactly.
All right, but enough about video rental stores.
All right, number 8. Continuing with the theme of handymen and maintenance men. I was tired of working in the cafeteria at college. My senior year, I had already done my student teaching, and I just wanted done. But I needed to make some money before I went into my profession. And my roommate at the time, Chad Green, was leaving for the summer, and he's like, the guy I work for as a handyman is looking for someone else to work for him while I'm gone. So I picked up where Chad left off and used a lot of the skills that my dad had taught me and a lot of the skills that I had learned working at the camp from Bull Durham, which was not his real name, but his name was Bull. And that's what we called him.
Though.
But Bob Corand is handyman. I was a handyman. I don't know how handy I was, but yeah, I did that, and that was...
Kevin's like, I'm not a handy boy anymore.
I am
a handyman.
So that was my last Nebraska job. So, number 9. Olive juice, 2.
Okay. I was a nanny. Yep. All you people who think I'm terrible with children, I was a nanny. Yep. That's all I'm going to say.
A nanny named Chris.
No, seriously. I watched kids in Pittsburgh for quite a while, and I grew really attached to them. They were fantastic. And, where you always feel like you're shaped by another little child presence in your life, they do, remind you of all of the things that you held dear and you were hopeful for when you were a kid, and I think it's beautiful. So, yeah, I was a nanny for a really long time.
I think you're beautiful. I love your dimples. Sorry, I'm just staring at her dimples.
It's okay. I was staring at him too.
So, number 9.
Okay.
I am now in my current profession, but these are things that I no longer do as part of my profession.
Oh no.
I have coached so many sports that I've never played.
Aww.
I have coached basketball.
Oh, that really reminds me of
I've
that
coached.
phrase. When you can't do, you teach.
Do. When you can't do, you teach.
No, but that's not true. That's not true. Oh, I'm sorry.
I've coached
please.
soccer for a really long time. I coached basketball, both guys and girls. I've coached baseball, high school and middle school. I did a short assisting of lacrosse. And I got drugged back in, kicking and screaming, but I was very glad that I did. I coached softball as well.
He's fantastic at it. The girls loved him.
But it's something I'm thinking about looking into again because I kind of miss it, but I don't miss the stress. I miss the
though.
games. I miss the thrill of it, but we'll see. Eventually, get back into it.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So coaching.
Ten, 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 ten. 10. Everybody. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, 10. I was a telemarketer. You know that person that used to call you up and tell you that you needed to renew your magazine subscription? That was me. Yep.
It's nice to get a reminder.
Hi there,
every
this
now
is
and then.
Christina McLaughlin calling from Dial America. We just noticed that your magazine subscription has expired, and we were wondering if you'd like to renew it for this year, because we can easily do it with a 50% discount today. Also, if you order today, we will send you a complimentary gift of a candle, an incense burner, and a fruity little bed spray that you can mask all of your scents away with on your bedspread.
Well, why wouldn't I want to be interrupted at night while I'm trying to eat dinner? No, just kidding.
We weren't allowed to call past 6 o'clock on the West Coast.
Telemarketer. I won't hold it against you. I'll hold me against you.
I cried so much. People were so mean to me. I hated my job. I hated it so much. When we were talking about the rules, I quit the first day, the first time. And then about 3 months later, I went back and I worked there for quite a while. So, yeah.
So, I was only going to teach for a couple of years. I wanted to be a professor.
He thinks that teaching and being a professor are like two totally different things. And I'm like,
I was naive. Like it was last week. No.
it literally was last week, but no.
So at 24, I was promoted to vice principal and dean of students at the school that I was teaching in Southside Chicago. Let me tell you, Southside Chicago, it was a very great school. It was a tiny school, which is why at 24 I could be a vice principal effectively. But I loved the power and I loved the title. But I don't know how good I was.
Oh.
I still keep my business cards because I like to prove to people. It's kind of more along the lines of reminding myself that I was there at one point. I'd kind of like to get back into administration at some point, but I just remember the stress of a small school. But I loved it. I loved being able to tell people, and I still like to tell people that at one point I was a vice principal because I really felt accomplished. I really, really did. And I think it was the high point of my early career.
The job that gives you an opportunity to actually feel like you can move forward with a little bit of confidence because you know what you've achieved.
And one of the funny things is both Christina and I both kind of had that career hit at the same point in our lives. because you with the video stores
with the video
become
stores. Well, the stores had done really well. We were number one in sales for quite a while, and we had been really shining. So, but no.
So, and yes, we're at 25 minutes now. So, last one.
This is a bonus question.
All right. So, bonus job that I don't know about.
My bonus job is that I was a security guard at Star Lake Amphitheater. I wore a yellow shirt and I didn't break up fights. Basically, what I did was walk around with a walkie-talkie, and if I saw other people fighting, I would just be like, big guy over my shoulder. Just go break that up, okay?
You're like,
and that
I
was
have
my
no
job.
Power here.
Seriously. I had to wear like black like booty shorts and like a cutoff shirt with that was yellow that said security across the chest. But then I'd like walk around like carrying the walkie-talkie, being like, security.
I had never known that. That's honestly
Security.
one that I didn't know.
That's how I saw Dave Matthews. I told
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Nice.
It was right outside of Latrobe where they brew Rolling Rock. All right.
Which was better when I was younger.
Oh, so much better when you were younger. And I love Pittsburgh. Okay.
So, my bonus, I taught summer school. I have taught subjects I should never have taught. I taught health class.
Teach summer school.
I taught an English class. I'm social studies and theology.
Actually, he's really good at English. Don't let him lie.
I talk not good. But no,
he
honestly
does not understand
most
grammar.
good indeed.
Verily,
and strategically.
Strategery.
So, but yeah, I think in the 6 years that I taught summer school, I taught 9 separate subjects, sometimes overlapping.
Because he's amazing at teaching.
Yeah, I love what I do. So I don't do that anymore, but we've taken enough of your time. So sorry we rambled on, but we're making up for lost time. Sorry for missing you the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're sorry about that, guys. But this has been 10 things or jobs that people might not know that we have held in the past, and we probably have at least 20 more between the two of us.
Yeah.
If you like this and you'd like to know more about the ridiculous jobs that we have had and how we have called in the middle of the afternoon for you to curse at, let us know if you like it, and please subscribe.
All right. Till next time, blessings to y'all.
We love you.
Bye-bye.